Obviously, Kazakusan and Ixia drawn early on aren't going to be good, but it's not going to be double to the front and double face manipulator clogging up your hand. And it's not as like dead in the water to mutinous coming down. That was, as we saw against Luna, killing the Galvinger and completely ruining the combo. So I feel like it does have a little more game than the Charge Warrior, but it's still susceptible to just Paladin always having stuff to play on curve, always having like this early game assault. So we'll see.
Yeah, it has opened up Fr0zen and the other people who play this deck. He's not the only one. To just have more cards in your deck. That combo really is a lot of cards just to win the game when you've repelled your opponents. But this Kazakusan's a win condition in its own right. You don't need to have 6 cards to have a win condition. Yes, it's not as reliable as a combo that does 54 damage, but it's pretty good, which allows you just have those extra little bits in your deck that do that little bit more. So I think this may end up being the prevailing warrior going forward. Already decision. This is a decision you have to make against Paladin turn after turn. 1 removal card in hand. Do I want to use it now? Do I want to push my luck?
I think you just Blade Storm. Like, the board's going to get such awkwardly shaped that you're almost never going to be able to say, all right, see minion, kill minion, right?
Yeah.
with Blade Storm. It's going to have to be multi-level removal with Blade Storm plus something else. I like it. It also shuts off any buffs that would be in Flood's hand. Fr0zen Buckler, I feel like, is a pretty good draw just because it activates the shield shatter for Fr0zen. Though that starts to lose value as the game goes on because the minions just start to get a little bit too big.
Yeah, at that point. But he has got the Kazakusan, so getting to turn 8. Important, doing 5 damage to everything is important. On getting to turn 8, so I like it. I think he's okay.
Yeah, let me look at the removal suite real quick. Fr0zen still only runs 1 Brawl, but runs double Rancor, double Minefield, double Blade Storm, as opposed to the Charge Warrior, which has to cut some of many of those things, right? So.
Aha. Now he gets a little greedy, which makes sense. There's not much that can come down that he can't kill. Taking 8, using his health as a resource. The old caster cop-out phrase.
Yep. I like this because I think he wants to kind of roll into Rikara as smoothly as possible. Next turn has multiple removal options. If Flood goes wide, boom, you hit him with the Fr0zen Buckler plus Shield Shatter. If Flood goes tall, then you left the minions up last turn, so it opened up an opportunity for a brawl. If Flood goes wide and tall, well, then I don't know.
Then you take 12 or something. Is Flood still there, by the way? Can we see him? Just temporarily put his head down below the camera completely. Now he's back.
I don't know what's the play here. There's really not anything particularly aggressive that Flood can manage. It's just going to go for Blade Master Samuro. Doesn't really have much use in this matchup anyway, outside of maybe killing the Whelps from Raid Boss and Ixia.
7 health.
Get out there.
It'll survive.
Yeah. Ooh, this is cool. Can I actually go for a Nixian Drake? Oh, no. Okay. This is cool.
Yeah.
Just getting the Fr0zen Buckler out there to gain health. And because there's 10 more than damage on. Oh! That is the absolute best outcome for Fr0zen.
Yep. The Mutinous has mutinied and is picking on Fr0zen now.
Yeah. It can now go either Brawl or... I was thinking Rikara Shield Shatter, and then you can smack the Mutinous. Best outcome from the Brawl as well.
Oh, wow.
Fr0zen is just firing away right now. This is looking quite good. Obviously, not out of the woods yet, but has the tools to really get there with both Kazakusan and Ray Boss Nixie in hand. Mutant is gone. And I guess that's why you don't go for Fr0zen Buckler plus the Onyxia Drake. Smart move for Fr0zen. Never listen to TJ.
I am paid to.
Ah. Bummer, huh?
I love it. Yeah, so here he goes. With so much damage, though. Like, so much health, I mean, 30. I know it can get picked off pretty quickly, but he's got so much time to do that. And just needs to find, and this is going to be the hard part, find a time to get the Kazakusan down. Because it's fine when you're in front on the board, but if your opponent's constantly threatening 10, 12 damage, it may be difficult to generate a spot where you can actually just play it.
Yeah.
Without dying. That's what Fled's doing well here.
Yep.
It's pretty good, though.
A little bit awkward, though. Could go Fr0zen Buckler Shield Shatter plus Hero Power. Or Fr0zen Buckler Shield Shatter plus Rancor. Oh.
Okay, that's an improvement, definitely.
There must be a way.
It's a big expenditure. It's essentially all the removal in the hand. But as I said, it's going to get to a point, especially with Fr0zen not having a brawl, that things are going to get weird, where the Paladin's boards are not going to be super removable with... Ooh.
I think the plan is to get rid of as many things as you can this turn. Play Bulwark next turn. And then close your eyes and hope the Viper's not there. This is one of the two decks that Fled only has one Viper in.
I kind of like the Shield Shatter plus Rancor there. I don't know.
I think I did too. It did seem nice.
Because now Shield Shatter is not stranded, right? Because there's still like Rancor, or not Rancor. Well, Rancor, yes, potentially, but also like Heavy Plate.
Guess there's a Nixia. I'm not guessing there's Nixia. There is a Nixia. It's there on the left-hand side of his hand. That wasn't a guess. Be clear. So, yep, insta jams the Onyxia. It's going to tidy up a lot of stuff and keep him clear for next turn, which should buy him the time to play the Kazakusan, or the Kazakusan, or however it is said in other places. At which point Fr0zen will get the time that he needs to start getting out of trouble. The Fled's going to need to present a lot of different stuff here, and the problem with Paladin, when you get to 10 mana, the good thing is you've usually got a lot of minions, you've usually got a lot of buffs. The less good thing is going wide becomes harder and harder because you've used up all your cheap things. Again, though, he does have the backup plan of the Viper, and Fr0zen obviously knows there's a great chance that Viper is in hand. With Fled only having 9 cards left in his deck. Fr0zen, time to calculate, needs to know if he's going to take 16, needs to find a way to get things going. And I wonder if he'll play the Mutinous here, because if he can eat the Viper, then he can safely play the Bulwark. He'll be aware that there's
right.
Well, there's a lot of spells in hand that he knows about, I think.
Yeah. Okay, maybe you're right.
Misses.
Yeah, but that definitely seemed like his plan. And he's going to go for it, but that is lethal damage, I do believe. Viper, there's 11 on board. Viper plus double Hand of a Doll plus double Libram of Wisdom is 12, 13, 14, 17 damage.
Which is more than the 16 available for Fr0zen. Eats the Bulwark, and here it comes. 17 points of Fled designed damage. 1-0. And the paladin is out of there, and the warrior that urgently needs to get a win against this lineup. Failing strike one.
Yeah, I do feel like there was that missed opportunity for like a very clean clear with the shield shatter rancor. Obviously, it looked like Fr0zen had a plan for the rancor, but it's really just not much stuff, especially with double Libram in hand, where you're going to have anything that's going to kill rancor unless, yeah, because you can't even play Rayboss and Nixie and then hope that enough whelps are going to live to where you can get rid of those. And shield shatter was almost unplayable unless he were to pick up like a heavy plate in that instance. So would have given him a nice little health buffer, 6 armor. So it's tough. It's really tough. And then the mutants there playing at the end there, I like what you said, where he can isolate that there's been a card that's been kept in hand for so long. And there's 5 spells in hand, probably the best opportunity he's going to find to try and mutinous the Viper to get a Bulwark down, to try and get a save Kazakusan. That looked like his game plan, but didn't hit the Viper. Won a 50-50 earlier in the game, won a 2 50-50s in the last game. Didn't win that one, and wasn't able to get the job done. So now, but moving on to the Quest Warrior.
Yep. Make pirates, hit face. Make pirates, hit face. Make more pirates, hit face. Fail to win. Play Rakara. Hope that gets there. Lots of value. Hit face more. Good times. I should do YouTube guys on this, really, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I describe decks and the plans and the strategies. It's so in depth in such a short amount of time that I should make guides.
You should. 10 seconds with Neil.
10-second guides.
Yeah.
Hit him harder, hit him again. Play Rakara. I could even do it as a rhyme. Look at that. That was a rhyming way, so people won't forget it. They'll load up the deck. They've built their deck. They've got their deck list. They've made it up. Not quite sure how to play these pirates that cost the same amount of mana that they've got each turn. Load up the video and they go. Remember, hit harder, play Rakara. Done. In before Sottle now says that's not an actual rhyme, but I don't care.
Short rhyming deck guides with Neil.
Yep.
Boom.
I'm trying to think of anything.
There's the name for your series.
Yeah.
Well, this is a Quest Fell Demon Hunter. There it is. Seen it a lot. And now you've seen it again.
Trying to think of something funny that rhymes, or something. It doesn't have to be funny, it just has to rhyme. It doesn't even have to rhyme, it has to nearly rhyme. And I can't. But play Fell DH, don't be a clown. On turn 1, don't play Showdown.
It's a terrible guide. Good rhyme. Terrible guide.
All right. Well, I mean, if both things were good, I'd put people out of a job. I have to sort of leave space in the nuances that is the space of YouTube guides for other creators to have a say. Otherwise, I'd just dominate the market.
Wow, it's very nice of you.
I'm a thoughtful guy like that. Fred's got a Viper, by the way, just for a change. Could matter. Save a lot of health by eating up the Warblades.
Aim for the wheel.
So many Vipers. Whoa, tempo.
Yep.
Yellow.
Just tempo Deadeye. Why do those names have to be so similar?
Maybe that was purposeful.
Possible. Straight for the captain.
The pirate's code.
Challenging this lack of board. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's trying to bait him into playing the Aldraki Warblade so he can ooze it.
Yep.
Viper it, whatever.
You always say ooze. I don't even register it anymore as a Viper. Chicken scratch.
Copy, Ghost Rider. Over. Ooh. Can set up for a Magtheridon.
Yeah. A bit scary, because giving the Pirate Warrior 3 extra damage is quite a lot, but if you do get the Magtheridon to stick, it just wins, because it's basically unkillable for Fled.
So you attack into one with your hero, and then attack into a different one with your Deadeye.
Mm-hmm. And then next turn you double blast. Get all your health back, make a 12-12, and just ride it all the way to 2 face hits.
Yeah, Fled's gonna split these. Split the 2 highest health ones. Smart.
Yep. Making things tricky. Actually, yes, it does make things tricky.
Well, if he trades, then it wouldn't, but...
Yeah, the trade confused me briefly, but it also confused Fled, so he didn't do it.
Okay, well, Fury is... not enough?
Wait, you Fury the 1-3, right?
Yeah, you Fury the 1-3, then you double Fell Scream.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you get a 12-12 thing from wherever Magtheridons live.
And then you have a Glide in your hand to completely refill.
Nice.
And you go up to full.
Yeah, you started the game with 4 cards next turn and a 12-12 on the board.
That sounds good to me.
That's good to me. You can't draw cards with 4-6 against this. That's not how Frenzy works.
Blood can actually clear it next turn, however, oddly enough.
But at what
by going
cost?
2 Anchormans and a Timbers.
However...
Okay. Now we can't. Get out of here. Get out of town.
Okay. One of them's back. Mutinous is back. Oh, Fr0zen's get so many cards. Or he can just go to Glideville again, but I think just now proceeding with his plan of hurting Fled for 12. And backing that up with Jace and Chaos Strikes and Fell Barrages. See, they're just coming as I'm saying them. Off you go.
Yeah. And actually, that's a lethal setup for next turn, I do believe. Even if Fled armors up, Fr0zen can just go smack Chaos Strike Hero Power, which would be 15 points of damage. Oh, he gets it all. He gets everything back? Hello?
Yeah, he just drew the whole same hand, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Off the top. So now it's not lethal next turn. Which is a shame, because I was going to do the whole bit where you say, how do you know the Fell Barrage is going to hit the face, TJ? In the redemption arc.
I still wouldn't know. Well, Mutinous can come down here. That's one thing.
It's not going to have a great time, though, is it?
It's going to hit a Jace.
It's going to have a great time.
Fantastic time. Beautiful time. The only thing about that is it doesn't progress the quest. And no, that's the only thing. Everything else is good about it.
All right. This has just been the MVP of the Americas region, this card, this week. Seems like every game is won by a Mutinous, or at least it's a key player. Can be removed, obviously.
6 damage, though. Fell Barrage is lethal. Second Fell Barrage.
Yeah, he's on 30, so he can afford for it to go wrong as well. And expend some performers next turn if needed.
Still has mana for Fell Barrage. Still has mana for Fell Barrage. The expendable performers, though, he's thinking about it. It would still leave him with some 1/1s on the board as well.
Yes.
I see.
Ah, he wants to play Kurtrus. Okay, no, that makes sense.
Yep. decent minion. He's
Sometimes I forget that exists in this deck, you know? Like, there's so much going on. You're like, oh, cool. 7/7.
yeah, especially when you're playing against the more aggressive decks, because you feel like, great, I've got to, you know, remove, make my things cheaper, but I'm under so much pressure. But yeah, it's a 7/7 as well as all that.
Yeah.
Which is really relevant right now, because Fled has to basically kill off his Mutinous to play it. That's going to open up these Immolation auras, which is going to keep Fr0zen just not dying while he hunts this last piece of damage. Might even see him use the performers, like Immolation Aura into performers, rather than double aura. Or both. Why not both? So many cheat cards. There it is.
All right, finds Kurtrus, yep. Can't do it all in one turn.
So many different ways to clear this board.
Wait.
I'm waiting.
Nah, that's lethal.
I grow impatient.
1, 2, 6, 8.
It's
Plus the Fury.
wait, no. Okay.
I have given up everything.
How much mana did he have?
He had
6 mana.
6, yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't lethal. Never mind.
But it was a win, pretty much whichever card he played, so he did go searching for that. I saw him hover over the Fury at the end, so he'd obviously counted the mana better than us and realised it wasn't going to get there. But it's 1 apiece. The Demon Hunter out of the way.
It was lethal.
Okay, tell me.
He played Kurtrus and then Flood conceded.
Oh, yeah, that's lethal. Good spot.
That was lethal. It seemed like Magtheridon, even though it died, it still connected for 12, which put Fled in a position where he had to play defensively the whole game, had to spend his entire 2 turns, essentially, just trying to clear it off. And then Fr0zen was just so far ahead at that point, could just complete the quest, start getting those cheap stuff, find Kurtrus, get to the bottom of the deck, and win the game of Hearthstone. Despite Mutinous eating Jace, which obviously that would have ended the game quicker. What wasn't enough for Flood to get the job done. So now Fr0zen gets one of the decks out of the way. Not really the deck I was worried about the most. I think that one was pretty likely to take a win. Has the Warrior, 2 Kazakusan decks left, basically, which is the more rampish kind of Kazakusan that runs Malygos and Raid Boss Onyxia and Cenarian Ward. And then we're looking at the Control Warrior still, the Kazakusan Control Warrior as well for Fr0zen to get across. Whereas Fled has the Warrior that we just saw, plus the Ping Mage. But Ping Mage doesn't do it justice.
Parrot Mage?
Sure. Whatever you want to call it.
Cairn Bloodhoof Mage?
Sure. Yeah, for that
Big
too.
Game Hunter Mage?
Yeah, all right. Cool.
King Mukla Mage?
No, that's where I draw the line.
Ape's gone. So, starts with the Warrior, because we talked about the Mage. That's how it always works around these parts. Pretty rapid looking start with the captain at the end. Looks nice. And Blade Storm's going to be kind of the wrong shape for any of this.
Outrider attacks in the opening hand, though, is quite good. However, there are 2 oozes. God. 2 Vipers in the deck for Flood.
Got to be honest, TJ. I've heard you say ooze so many times last week and this week that I just thought you were doing it on purpose, like you do. I didn't realize that it was not deliberate.
We have an interesting situation here, Neil. unfolding before our very eyes.
Okay.
Fr0zen is thinking about shield slamming the 2-1 instead of the 2-2. Reason being, it's because he wants Bladestorm to deal more damage. He doesn't want it to stop at 1. He wants it to stop at 2.
Yep, it's a good spot. More damage from the Bladestorm.
Conventional Hearthstone wisdom would tell you, you kill the one with the highest health. It's more efficient. But in this case, it's not. Good job, Fr0zen.
Probably.
Probably.
Alright, Fr0zen. Gonna do the 2 damage. Gonna use the axe instead. Draw some more stuff. Because stuff is good.
Oh, I love stuff.
Right, and Fled's still just about ahead of the removal curve, but Fr0zen obviously now going to be able to take these both down, but that would have been the end of his removal, but he's drawn another Blade Storm, so still okay. Mutinous inching closer to being relevant, which would be amazing for Fr0zen if he can get into that position.
Yeah. I mean, it will be relevant. It's just Fled's probably not going to play Rikara until it's absolutely necessary. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. All right. Well, I mean, Fr0zen could just die if he plays Mutinous. That's what Fled's trying to threaten.
Yeah. This is one of those plays where, you know, everybody sees the play. Blade Storm, armor up in like 0.1 seconds, then you have to look for something better than that. And there's plenty of things that are better than that available here to Fr0zen.
Yeah, I think he really has to worry about his life total here. So I wouldn't mind just Blade Storm. Like, he's thinking about whether or not he wants to draw a card. There's a couple removal options. If he really wants to, he could go like Fr0zen Buckler, attack, draw the card, shield slam, and armor up. Could also go like Fr0zen Buckler plus Onyxian Drake.
Uh-huh. That's what he's going to go with. Seems to be a good middle ground, keeping the Blade Storm available for something more scary.
Yeah. This also makes it so Fled just goes for normal quest completion. Does it become a little bit awkward? Conventional wisdom would say, all right, just play double 3s. And then get Rikara in your hand, but then Mutinous could come out. And he's not setting up a 2-turn lethal, I don't think. So if he were to just play double 3s and have Mr. Smite in hand, Fr0zen could trade over one of those 3s and then Mutinous. And is that 21? Or no, not at 21. Is that 20? No, 16. Sorry.
How about
armor.
You take this really slowly and just wait until 8 mana to play Rikara and a pirate in the same turn?
Oh, jeez. Is it a 50-50 Mutinous again?
Oh, my.
Oh, no, it's 1 and 3. Sorry. Fr0zen's like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Take this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nope.
Misses. Fled celebrates. That was an early pop-off.
Yeah. It's still a big Mutinous, however, but...
Yeah. Here comes the value.
Not really. Yeah, but it's so much value, yeah.
Definitely not over. Like, there's a lot of removal for Fr0zen. He does have his own win conditions. He does have the Onyxia, which will absorb cannon blasts and things. But it's all got to happen pretty quickly for him.
So one of these Corsair Cash is now dead. Only a Bulwark left. It might be a Bulwark turn, to be honest. You can trade over the 2-4. Oh.
I think if he could possibly be greedy with the Bulwark and get it down, around the time of
Rancor.
Yeah. This was another nice Mutinous.
Killed off immediately.
Every time.
That is
this lethal?
6 plus 6, 12 plus 4. It's lethal.
Yep.
Lethal damage.
Fled hasn't quite got the Monsanto down. You've got to kill your opponent before leaving your seat.
I'm here for the gold.
So much lethal.
Yeah.
Fled 1 game away from his first ever Grandmasters victory. He's been there or thereabouts many times, but he's only reached 1 final before, and this would be great for him. I'd love to see Fled win a tournament. I'd love to see Fr0zen win one too, but I've seen that many times before. So exciting times, because if he's going to do it, he is going to do it with inconspicuous rider mage.
That's right. Oh, jeez. But yeah, Fr0zen's Mutinous has been doing some work up until this point, right? Up until this series, winning the 2 50-50s against Dreadeye. And this series, the Mutinous just can't find its target, it feels. Even the Mr. Smite would have at least set Fled back a little bit. It wouldn't have been immediate lethal. He would have had a freebooter and the Sword Eater in hand instead of Mr. Smite. So Fr0zen probably a little bit upset about that, realizing, you know, oh man, my Mutinous even had another good target.
That's
hit.
Exactly how I read that face. It's like, well, I knew there were 3 cards there. Surely, you know, if there's Smite and Rokara, yeah, I was unlucky to miss both, and he can't plan around that. He's just got to assume that if he's lost a 1 in 3, then unlucky. And that reaction was an acknowledgement of that at the end there.
Yeah, he probably thought it was a Vipe because it'd been in the hand for a long time. That's probably why he didn't want to go for a Bulwark turn that turn. It's probably why he felt like he had to go for a Rancor. Probably had the read that it was a Viper. But now we're getting into pretty difficult territory here for Fr0zen. He's got some slow decks that take quite a while for their win conditions to actually come online. It's been the Warrior Destroyer. That rhymed.
That's definitely rhymed. Definitely.
Yeah. Just don't see how Warrior can beat. I just don't see it. It's too much pressure. It's just constant. You can never really get a foothold. Even if you get Kazakusan on 8, I just don't feel like it's enough. And whoa, I'm excited. Whoa, look at that.
Yeah, the yogurt pots aren't talking to each other quite as well because TJ has made them so excited.
I'm so excited. My room is getting warm, which means my lights are getting warm, which means they're taking up more electricity from my sockets, which is ruining the magic voodoo of my power over Ethernet.
Yep, there's a sentence I bet you never thought you were going to say when you were growing up. One day you are going to get paid to talk about the voodoo magic of your internet.
Yeah.
Going wrong because it gets too excited, because when you get excited, your lights get hot and your room gets hot and then the internet panics.
Yep. All right, Druid, I think, can have a little bit better of a time just because it can hit Kazakusan faster. So
getting in the way of the mask is a deal, right? If you can get something down in the way of the mask and just absorb some of that damage, in the same way that Luna tried to, but the mask just went around the sides. That's one way of slowing down this damage at the end, but you've still got to slow down the initial onslaught of these Hearthstone cards, I'm going to sort of broadly call them.
They are Hearthstone cards. Yeah, that is true.
I wish I could make a deck like this that worked. I mean, I can make a deck like this very easily, but it wouldn't win any games. It's so cool.
I'm in the business of bloom growth. Bloom clips growth. Also known as tippity tap, bada bing.
How's that tippity tap? I thought I was on the understanding of tippity taps.
Ooh, wildfire. Ooh, pressure.
And what we've seen from this deck from Fled is, even though this hand looks absolutely garbage, and he's clearly not happy with it at the moment, it starts to draw. If you draw these small things early, you start to draw the big things later. That's how Hearthstone's always worked. But in this particular deck with so many 4s and 5s,
Ooh, that can be played next turn.
It can. Which is a thing.
Whoa.
Okay. That's one way to get in front of the mage. Just draw 7, play a 4/12 on turn, whatever turn it is. Turn Druid.
Nothing to play though, because it's only on 6 mana, so can't dump anything. Can dump a but they would only have 5 mana next turn. What would Bloom do here? He could go Bloom Ironbark?
Luna, sorry. Then Ironbark?
I think you keep it simple. Because the Lunar's kind of wasted in that instance if you're just...
Okay.
It's not in BGH range.
Yeah.
There's no polymorph effects.
For no one.
Or... Yeah. It's a pouch too. Pouch is great. Oh, Mukla. All right. There it is. Oh, it's going to burn a card. What if it's Kazakusan?
That'll make it interesting. I think Fr0zen still has a good hand.
What if?
Even after that.
There, well, Snare More's fine. Yeah.
The Apprentice wipes out a lot of the Elixir effects that Fr0zen has available, though. That's why Fled's keeping that back.
Don't put it in BGH range.
I was going to say, yeah, the bananas, the synergy with the BGH.
Oh, gonna think about it. He's like, wait a second. He did it.
I'm not scared. If you BGH me, that's your whole turn next turn. Enjoy it. And my Elixir will...
Oh, yeah, look. He's slapping himself. He's like, BGH,
It's like, come on, you know this card exists, Fr0zen. We played it once 20 years ago in every deck.
All right, this is starting to piece together for Flood here. He's got a lot of damage going on.
Yeah.
The Magister, though, is not doing that much. It's just been Ice Barrier and Wildfire. That's it. Not going to even Reckless Apprentice. Going to hold on to that in case Fr0zen decides to go wide.
No, Fr0zen won't. He's just going to make 8 armor to stay alive, make another thing, protect himself from masks. Yeah.
Brute me, dude.
Yep, we've seen Brute do really well today, so just making one for your own sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, setting up for the Mordrush. Pouch for 8. What can this get? Supreme Abyssal plays around the Mordrush. It can kill it. Oh my gosh.
Actually, that's pretty, for the first time in history, in before, Sottle tells us it's a 0/0, but it actually looks quite good here. Just, it's almost like 12 extra health for you, or at least 6 if you say that half of them hit it, half of them miss.
Yeah.
And then...
Actually, Sneeds also deals with it and puts an 8/8, right? If Mordrush is out, you Sneeds and then fire the cannons.
Okay.
So as much as I'd like to believe that Supreme Abyssal is the pick there, Sneeds is just better.
It's never the pick.
Yeah. Oh, double guff. Yeah, Fr0zen is out of armor gain.
He's on 30.
Except for guff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's on 20.
Yeah. He's on 20, though.
He can guff and Sneeds. I like guff Sneeds.
Happens to me when I'm ill. Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. But does he have to do it now? Elixir is just so tempting as there's a chance to actually get it down.
Yeah, true. But Flood's been holding on to this Reckless Apprentice. It's just... That's the only thing he does. It's just Reckless Apprentice. That's the turn. And then he leaves 8 damage on board.
And what's the alternative?
Mask. But it...
Same thing, in a way.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing because
So-
you get to parrot next turn, I guess.
Is there any damage in the deck? There's just no damage in the deck.
Well, in Fr0zen's deck?
Yeah. Can he find 2?
He'd have to go looking for a pouch.
Must be the way.
Studies?
Studies is probably more likely, yep.
And he gets 2 studies? Adorable Infestation?
Infestation, then studies. Into another infestation.
An Iron Bark.
There it is.
There you go. Or Spike Shell. Yeah. Okay. Fr0zen gets there with the Druid. This was the one I was the least worried about. But it's still a win is a win at this point, right? It's all going to come down to Warrior versus anti-Warrior Mage versus King Mookla Mage.
You said I couldn't call it that.
You can, I can.
Oh, I see. You just copied it, stole it from me. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
It's just hard for me to imagine how Fr0zen can win.
So
There are opportunities, but it's difficult. Like Fled has to just get nothing. Which that game was actually kind of a lot of nothing, right? Grey
Yeah.
Stage Pairs were dead. Dawn Grasp was pretty much dead. Reckless Apprentice never really found a spot to come down. Mordred's had to be kind of played reactively. And Mask of Cthuns were kind of a non-issue. So
the parrots were dead because Fr0zen put a lot of health on the board, which is what the Druid can do. The Warrior's going to struggle with that. So they wouldn't have been dead against the Warrior. What he can do, though, what could happen, there's a lot of expensive cards in Fled's deck. If Fr0zen can get to the point where he can maybe mutinous something, that'll get some health down, straight into Kazakusan, not be dead on the following turn, which again, with a big Kazakusan down, maybe that's okay, and get a decent deck. I think that's probably his route to victory here. I don't know if there's anything else that would work for him.
Victory or death.
well, Mutinous is there. The one upside for this matchup is Outrider's Axe can sometimes get you some card draw, but there's 2 Vipers, so
If you looked at these two faces and you didn't know Hearthstone, who would you think was winning?
Fr0zen.
Fr0zen's just having a laugh. He sees the funny side of what's happening to him, and Fred is... Why do I keep calling him Fred? Fled, I'm so sorry. Sorry, Fled. If you're watching this back, I apologise. Fled is the one who is supposed to win, so he's the one who's the most nervous.
Yeah. Well, Fr0zen's just... he was looking over at the list, kind of giggling to himself, probably trying to think of exactly what I was trying to think of. Like, okay, how do I win?
Yeah.
It starts with Mutinous. Like, if Mutinous hits, like, Mordresh or a Parrot, then that limits the amount of damage, right?
Yep. Yep.
Corsair Cash is good. You can Corsair Cash, then Outrider's Axe and Cutting Class and draw a card.
Oh, 5/5.
Yeah, he doesn't play minions, so the bananas do nothing.
They do less than nothing. They fill up his hand with garbage that he just doesn't want.
Yeah.
Just take 5. Oh, and 2 more because my hero power is silly now as well. Bam!
Oh, bananas.
Uh-huh. Okay. Actual relevance.
Nice.
Yeah, makes a block, and importantly, like, can't understate it, I don't think. Just gets rid of the bananas in a fairly healthy way.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Talon Fordring.
Fr0zen's looking, he's like, all right, well, this is Mordresh. In this case, it's Mutinous.
Yeah.
which Flood can actually play next turn, which could eat the Mutinous.
And if it doesn't, it eats the Kazakusan. How does he win?
Yeah, he's
there?
praying. He's like, please, Mutinous. And because Mutinous is this card, Fr0zen will also know that Mordresh is in the hand.
Second prize of 2. Still a good prize. But would win the game pretty much if he hits the Kazakusan there. That's why he was...
There's no way to kill this currently. Does now.
Sure.
And can draw a card. Does he want to Corsair Cash first?
He keeps hovering over that banana. It's like, how do I get rid of this? Game's going to kick off after next turn, though. Kazakusan's going to do the thing that Kazakusan does.
Yeah, he can even... He has Kazakusan plus Provoke next turn, which is quite good. Parrot will play Ice Barrier, so it won't do anything.
Yeah, the Parrot's going to get saved for multi-masking.
Yeah. And Mordresh is very close, I think, because he's had the Wildfire since turn 3. Yep.
Now he gets...
All right, that's the win condition for Fr0zen. Book of
Crusty?
the Dead? Or Krusty? Oh, he picked Book of the Dead. All right, now Krusty.
Krusty? Oh, the Hyper Blast is pretty good against this deck too, but...
Well, I
want
think
Krusty
Krusty
to
is
get
just
some
better.
health down. Yeah, I agree.
They cost the same amount of mana. They both a thing. It's just Hyper Blast can more things. Ooh, do you want damage or do you want...
Oh.
Yeah, all those are good. Pick damage, you pick Locust.
Boombox.
Got a Rancor in hand, Boombots, Pyrrhic Fangs, boom. That's a very good Kazakusan.
It is.
Got burn, has got removal, has got minions, a little bit of everything.
He's even got a banana.
He even got a banana. Oh, yeah, I think, I don't know. Fr0zen might be, ooh. Okay, that's a mask.
Game starts now. It depends how much health took in minions. What are you doing, Mask? Okay.
And that's a Magister as well. Oh, that plays around Mask so well, but not Reckless Apprentice. Oh my gosh, this is so close. I'm stressed.
I'm excited. There's so much going on here.
I wonder.
Eat locusts, but the locusts are going to get eaten back.
Yeah, but it will delay the mask.
It will.
It'll force
Yeah, it messes with the battle cry.
Actually, I think Fr0zen or Fled just wins from here. Reckless Apprentice will activate the Mordresh.
Yep. Big time.
And then that's going to be it's going to be an 8/8 on the board as well. Fr0zen's going to have to find Boombots and get a Rancor off in order to have enough armor to survive. If he does, though, that could just be lethal as well.
Yeah, he's not far off. Turns out that locusts kill people quickly.
Yeah.
You wish to match wits with me.
All right. Taking
Ice
health on
Barrier,
board.
Mask,
Ice
and
Barrier.
Wildfire.
Yeah. That's pretty decent. Because he knows there's more locusts coming where they came from anyway, so...
That's a 4
Mordresh
damage
next
here
turn.
as well.
Mordresh ping next turn, in fact, just to be clear. Pretty relevant.
I think he wants to get the Bulwark down this turn. I think he can also heavy plate.
Yep. Oh, it's so close. What a finish to the week's proceedings.
And a banana.
So Fled gets
Fled's-
Parrot now, right?
Reckless Apprentice plus Parrot.
But which order? Which order do you want to do this?
Well, Reckless Apprentice first because it kills all the minions.
The parrot will chip
then-
away at the bulwark.
Oh, well, the Reckless Apprentice.
No
Oh,
way
will
you
the
can
reckless
stop
apprentice.
Ooh, going for armor gain. Hit straight fire MS. That's 10 armor. That's pretty good.
All right.
Oh, boombots! That is... It could be lethal?
Unlikely. Really unlikely.
Wait, what? He doesn't want a Book of the Dead? Book of the Dead Boombots Rancor? He wants to say Book of the Dead for removal. Okay.
Yep. Pew, pew, pew. The speed of those was confusing. Some were faster bots than others. Every time.
I don't think Flood can get there now. Fr0zen has lethal from hand next turn with Locust plus Book of the Dead.
Yep. I don't know if that's avoidable in a real world.
And maybe that makes sense from Fr0zen because Shield Slam's like never getting better, you know?
Yep.
And holding on to the information of Book of the Dead. Second Book of the Dead would also be lethal.
Yeah, I think he's going to get there. I think he's got it done.
Is this going to be 2 times in a row that this anti-warrior mage deck just can't get there?
It's going to be so close twice. I think you're right. Bled knows that he's up against it here. He's desperately trying to find a way to present different issues for Fr0zen to deal with, but it'll be quick as well now.
I mean, these pings are actually pretty large.
Yep.
Okay, they're only 4s, actually. They never honorable killed.
That's pretty large. Fr0zen.
Yep.
Finishes off the
Good
game.
Locust. Nicely done. Nicely done from Fr0zen. Dodged the Mutinous. Like, it felt like so many games came down to Mutinous. He dodged the Mutinous again. Well, killed his own Mutinous, so he didn't really dodge it. But in the end, he dodged it, maneuvered the Kazakusan turns very well. And I called Flood a favorite going into this series because I thought that it'd be really tough for the Druid and for the Warrior to get the job done. But at the end, Fr0zen does get the job done. Very close series and is going to win week 1. Very nice play from Fr0zen throughout the week.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, we saw him probably have favourable Mutinuses on average, but he did have some bad ones as well as he went along. So it wasn't all his own way. He did lose that 1 in 3 somewhere in the middle here. But taking it down 3-2, great weeks, Hearthstone, and 2 worthy finalists. I think 2 worthy semi-finalists to go alongside them as well. And the rest of the group will be looking at these people with these points and very worried how they're going to catch them.
Yeah. There's only 3 weeks of the regular season, so these players that are finishing semifinals and finals have a huge leg up because you have to get to the quarterfinals twice just to get the amount of points that you get for reaching a single finals. So big deal. Fr0zen's going to have a nice lead going into it and a very good shot at making playoffs just with a single week victory. And then we'll have his eyes on, as well on that top 4 to be able to compete in the Grandmasters last call. But there it is. Do want to give a huge shout out to Fled and to an extent Superfake for breaking the mold, bringing something outside the box, creative, and quite cool. Honestly, that mage deck was just always cool to watch. It felt like it always had some type of damage, but it was brought down by some Kazakusan action there at the end. But I think Fled can hold his head high. He played some good Hearthstone and gave us a show. And top 2 is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, all the things that we know and love Fled for already, with, you know, all the things you stated there, giving us a show whilst winning games of Hearthstone. The perfect match from our point of view as well. And next week, I imagine that, I don't even know where the box is. If you're thinking outside the box next week, the box is like, the box has got things in it, TJ.
No, the box doesn't have things in it. There is no box.
Just things on the floor.
there's just things on the floor, and you forgot where you put the box.
You've got to make a box out of the things.
You've got to make a box out of the things, and then decide what you make it out of, and then decide what to put in it, which is a difficult task. I honestly don't know what to expect, to be completely honest, because I don't think any one strategy came out as the front runner this week, because we saw aggro lineups have some success. We saw hybrid aggro lineups have some success. We saw sort of these anti-aggro-ish combo lineups, like we saw from, well, it's not even anti-aggro. The Quest Hunter sort of is, but the Mizaki Mage definitely isn't, but kind of is at the same time. We saw Dread Eye's lineup also have success. Fr0zen came out here playing Handlock and won. And then all sorts of Druids were successful, even if you look at just our top 4, right? Luna had the token Kazakusan. Fled had Celestial Druid, and Fr0zen had kind of a mix, a Kazakusan Druid, but that also had like this RAM package in it. So it was all over the place, all over the map. And so I don't know if you can look at this week and say, this player came out as the front runner.
Absolutely, and next week, of course, different format as well. So they've got to juggle all of the pieces of the box and create a box from a box that's been handed to them and taken apart. And I don't know why we haven't made the video on explaining that, because we explain things so clearly. But I do believe that Sottle will have something explaining that very soon in the coming days.
Wow, spoilers.
He said it earlier, so I can say it as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, I watched them muted. I can't take it.
You can't take it. They listen to us, TJ. If anyone listens to us, they deserve to be listened to, because
I'm just kidding. I listen to them.
I don't. I mute them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, it should be a wide open field next week. Obviously, like Quest Fell Demon Hunter, you can still call it a success, because even though it was brought by a lot of players, it never really felt like it was the super weak point in any one player's lineup. Like, it felt like it always had a shot, right? And was winning games that I was like, this one's probably gonna be tough to win. So I don't even think like that's off the table. And then now that players expect Fled strategy, who knows what's gonna happen. But Neil, we're gonna take a break from talking to you for a moment, because we actually have an interview lined up with our week 1 champion for the Americas region, and hopefully we'll be able to see and /hear Fr0zen in just a few moments once Neil's face leaves. Hey Fr0zen, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. What's up? Hello, TJ.
Okay. Hello. Congratulations. That was quite the show in that last series. But I want to take a step back first, because there was a lot of unique lineups going into this week, yours included. What was the thought process kind of behind your lineup going into the week?
So I prepped a bunny hopper, and we kind of tried to figure out a way of beating some of the more meta decks. Like, we had like a soft target on DH and wanted to be good versus aggro. And then I played a bunch of games with Druid and I just couldn't lose. So we just had to put Druid in, even though like on paper it's not great versus aggro. But for my group, like I ran really good. Okay, so the other deck we're trying to target was Shaman, which I had a lot of success earlier on in the tournament. But the problem was that most of the NA lineups actually didn't have Shaman, and they were playing like either aggro or some jank, but I just high rolled a really good group. But I got a bunch of tough opponents in like the semifinals and the finals, especially Dedra, because like during prep and on ladder I actually played him a bunch, and he's extremely cracked with the decks he plays, and he beat me 3 or 4-0, like even Hunter versus Control Warrior, which I thought wasn't even possible. And so yeah, that was like very scary going to the semifinals, finals. I wasn't really expecting much, but I know like I had a slight favorable versus Fled, and everyone else is a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah, it felt like most of the matches that I looked at your lineup on paper, I was like, I don't know. Like it seems like he's slightly unfavored, but it's hard to tell, because like you said, everybody's playing it felt like the lineups were just random almost. And I had no idea how to determine whether or not you were going to be favored against Flood. You said you thought you were a slight favorite. I thought the Warrior might struggle a little bit. So, why? Can you explain why you think you're a slight favorite?
So there was a pretty big difference between my Warrior and Luna and like the Charge Warrior. The Charge Warrior is very inconsistent and basically has a lot less removal options, a lot less mid game, early game. Whereas my Warrior can generally withstand to like mid late game and use Kazakusan as a win condition. So most of the time with the Charge Warrior, even though it's better versus like matchups like Warlock, it definitely struggles inconsistency versus aggro. A lot of times you just draw like 4 or 5 cards. You run like 5 or 6 dead cards that are completely unplayable. So like it's very easy to have a hand that you just can't do anything with. But with my deck versus aggro, it's much better.
So I have a weird stat for you, and you can just tell me your thoughts on it. In just the the last 3 matches, so quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals in the series. Stats? It's Mutinous. You played 11 Mutini, I don't know the plural, and you killed it yourself. So you cast the spell that killed it 10 out of those 11 times.
Yeah, I had to do that in some matchups, like versus DH, since I ate his mag, so he couldn't combo me, and that one was like a flip. Like he had to hit, I think he had no more damage, so it was like very likely to armor him, but he had to hit the spell power. That was unfortunate, but yeah. So Casey actually came up with the Mutinous idea, and I just kind of improved on it and just put it in Warrior as well, just because like if Mutinous has been so good versus all the combo decks and all the random high-end Kazakusan decks, like why not we just put it in Warrior as well, even though it has like a little bit less synergy since you kind of can't activate Kazakusan on curve with Mutinous in your deck a lot, but more importantly a lot versus like all the combo decks, you kind of just need the Mutinous to stop that, so we have like a little hedge on that side.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it did a lot of work for you in the series versus Dreadeye. You had like 2 50-50s to hit Mizaki, but then it was letting you down time after time in that series versus Fled. That could have been a much faster series if Mutinous had just decided to cooperate. But it seemed like a big piece of your strategy.
Yeah,
last question. I know it's about
a bunch of Mutinous, which is like super interesting. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, he also had like a lot of Mutinous, no worries. Which I was like we had like the same kind of idea coming in to just beat all the combo decks, and he just chose an aggressive strategy, whereas I chose a more defensive strategy. Yeah,
but same kind of like general idea, which was kind of cool. Yeah, 3 in his list, and then you had what, 3? Did you have 3?
I had 2.
Yeah, because. What? No, you had 3. Oh no, you don't play any of your Druid. Sorry. Yeah. You had 2. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were explaining the whole Mutinous not activating the Kazakus if it was being in your deck. But that was for the Warrior. There was this moment, and this is my last question. There was this moment in versus Fled where you went into the last series, the last game of the series, Game 5, and it cues to you, and like you see your mulligan, and then you just like kind of chuckle to yourself and look to the side. Were you just like looking at his deck list thinking, oh my gosh, like what am I playing against right now?
No, it's because he kept cards, so I was like, he either has Mutinous already and it's going to be a huge flip, or he has a way of drawing into it, or like he has like a plan into it. Because I feel like in that matchup, his most important card was probably Mutinous, and he should probably just formal for it. So I was just like chuckling because I kind of already knew what I was expecting. Like, and he has coins, so he gets the Mutinous first, and it's just gonna be a fiesta.
Well, it was quite the fiesta, but very entertaining, at least from our perspective. So that's it. Congratulations. Very fun to watch your games this weekend. And if you did see on Twitter, I did pick you as my prediction.
Yeah,
so despite me thinking that you were an unfavorite, Raven, I think.
Pick me. Wait, was it Raven?
Oh, Neil did. Okay.
Was it? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, both of you guys did.
Okay. Yeah. So that's how much faith we had in you. So we never doubted you for a second, Fr0zen. But congratulations once again, and thanks for joining us for the interview.
All right, thank you guys. See ya.